Good morning, guys, and welcome to the podcast. And I'm delighted about today's guest. She is a content creator, she's a photographer, and she's the founder of Studio 13. And that's going to be a great conversation around the business of photography, social media, content creation, and happy to have her on. Leslie, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Briefly introduce yourself and we'll dive into the questions.
Sure. I'm Leslie Lane. Studio 13 is a third generation commercial photography business here in Indianapolis, Indiana. We serve local, regional, and national accounts, big companies, small companies, and we do our best to help our clients relate to their audience, their brand through photography, mainly still photography, some drone work, and a little bit of video as well.
Yeah, really interesting. And so the clients that come to you, are they obviously for photographs, but is it for events, weddings, special occasions? Is it for business or profiles? Who comes to you?
Yeah, we only work in the corporate space. So we're not dealing with regular people for family portraits or weddings or anything like that. So we're just a B2B company, and we do cover corporate events, and we do that both through video and through stills. And then we come alongside when someone's going through a rebrand or they're doing a new website to get the still photography to back up that message.
Interesting. And obviously, photography has undergone a lot of changes in your third generation. Talk about the adaptations and the adjustments that you had to make with technology, changing trends to stay in business.
It was very tough. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, especially since your show is about the financial independence. I came into the business in 1995, and I was the generation that made the transition from film to digital. It was not really by choice because I had a client that was so large that they dictated it to me. And the first digital camera was $209,000. So it was a substantial investment compared to what we're doing now. But being that I got into it so early and made the transition quickly, I think it set me apart until the recession of 08, 09, and 2010. And that was the transition from large digital cameras to handhelds. And so through my career, I've seen these huge disruptors in not only in the economy, but in the industry. And now you throw into it the whole AI situation. And so I really feel like that the difficulties that I went through early in my career are making it so that I am more prepared and ready to embrace the changes that AI is going to bring in the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wanted to ask you the correlation with AI and photography and talk about just the threats to commercial photographers and how you view AI, how are you using it, how are you planning to partner up with it to stay relevant?
Sure. It is such a hot topic right now. I must talk about it on at least a daily basis, sometimes multiple times a day, because some people in the industry, I try to mentor young photographers as much as possible. They're worried, are we going to be replaced? What's going on? And what I do, where I'm dealing with large corporations, some of them selling products, the retailers are actually pushing back against the AI. If they see packaging that has an artificially created image on it, they send it back to the manufacturer and tell them to take still pictures of it. They won't accept it. I don't know how long that's going to last. I'm also seeing people, so I serve a lot of financial advisors and doctors and lawyers, people that their image really matters. And so they're really pushing back that this transparency in advertising is so crucial to them connecting with their clients. And they're not wanting artificially created images. And they're even pushing back on the editing, where 10 years ago, everybody wanted a filter to look as young as possible. Now they're backing off of that they need to be more authentic with their audience. So how am I using it? I'm using it to speed up my editing process. I'm using it to make my editing better. Things that we didn't used to be able to do, we now can do. And I'm also using it to make sure that my clients' needs are better met. So will that change in the future? Probably. Everything changes. When the first digital camera became a handheld, business declined because people could shoot it themselves. And then eventually it came back when people realized they're not photographers. And so now we're dealing with AI. The pendulum will go the other way and it will probably back off again. So just riding out those changes in the industry like I always have.
Yeah. Another question is, now that the AI can generate almost real images, how is the role of photographer going to change? Obviously, in the past, it was like you took a photo and you had to go develop it, you had to take it to the store, and now it's like all digital, and now it's like AI can create it. So, how do you see yourself as a photographer evolving and changing?
Yeah. So first of all, the AI created images in a corporate standpoint. I'm not talking about the fun ones where you see somebody that's made themselves stand in front of the Eiffel Tower where they're not in the Eiffel Tower. But it really hasn't been able to create real and like really look like it's a real image yet. And so from that standpoint, it hasn't changed what we do. But from another standpoint, due to the fact that AI is coming and it's getting harder and harder for people to make a living in photography, to be financially independent and support their family, there are less of me out in the market. And so I have been able to scale my business just by helping my clients solve some of their problems of finding a photographer and vetting those photographers and just working to become a relationship-driven business and a business that finds a need in a company and solves the problem of, I have to get this done and I can't figure out how to do it. So it's all working together. AI is something that I will have to keep my eye on. I will have to keep my thumb on and continue to grow with it. You can't fight it. You got to join it. This is one you can't fight. But right now I'm seeing more in this. How can I help my clients solve their problems, both from a photographic and a marketing and a manpower situation? Because I'm seeing corporations are asking more out of their employees with less resources. And so corporate marketing people need more help to achieve their goals. And that's where I come in.
Interesting. Yeah, I was just because I loved your allusion to partnering with AI, and you can't really choose. And I know a lot of, for example, software engineers are under attack, and a lot of, for example, doctors, pathology, radiology. And now I was talking with another colleague, and he was saying that he's basically going to create a bunch of AI agents to do, and he will oversee the work that he used to do. So basically, he's because you always need a human in some sort of role. Your area of like relationships, and how do you view scalability, or are you just happy with your business right now? Because some people, they're always talking about scaling and growing. How do you envision yourself scaling and growing with all of these competitive pressures around you?
I'm out all the time. I am between the podcasting and the networking and using AI to help me generate leads and things like that. Most photographers hate the business of photography. They just want to take pictures and they don't want to do the editing on time, the invoicing, the quoting, all that stuff. And so I'm out there daily working to scale and grow the business. The problem, as with all businesses, is how fast you grow and how fast you can manpower it. How can you get enough people to do the work that you're getting? And so I've been slowly over the last 3 to 4 years building a team of freelancers that cover lots of different ranges of photography. I've got administrators, I've got social media people, all that are doing a 1099 amount of work. And if there is none, then I don't have to compensate them. And trying to run a business, not as a solopreneur anymore. I did it for a long time just by myself. That in of itself is going to scale the business by having more people that can shoot and not just me and do different things that I don't do.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the same thing as software, or just kind of multiplying your resources and your time, which I really love. The next question I have for you is, we talked about some of the adaptations and challenges. How do you view social media? Because now, for example, a lot of companies and businesses, they don't have websites. They're all on Instagram or TikTok. Or how do you view the role of video with your work? Do you incorporate it or in social media, or is it just strictly photos?
First and foremost, I feel that people make some tragic mistakes in their marketing. They say, I need a new website, but yet they don't poll their clients to see what their clients want. And I feel that's one of the greatest components of any type of marketing, is to actually ask your clients what they need from your website and then ask your clients where they buy your services. So if your clients are all on TikTok and you're not, you're missing the boat. And so on that platform, you obviously need a lot of video, short videos, 14, 15 seconds tops. If your clients are buying from Instagram, you need to mix it up, stills and video. If your clients are on Facebook, probably more stills and less video. And so you've got to figure out where they are, go to them and meet them where they are. So I feel like the stills and videos that go hand in hand, but a lot of it depends on what your clients need. And are you asking them those questions to find out? And so that's what we try to do. And we try to, if they need light video, I don't do big video productions by any means. We normally add it as a complimentary service to something else. And then we find partners that can do the larger scale things so that our clients don't have to go out and vet all those people to come together to make their plan or their new branding or whatever.
Interesting. Shifting gears, we talked about looking at competitive threats and the competitive landscape and adjusting. But we talked about the evolution of everything going to digital, the smartphone, AI. But how do you filter out between what is relevant and what is not? How do you avoid chasing the latest tech trends?
That's a great question, Chris. Most of the time, it comes from see a need, fill a need. So if somebody says, can you do this? And it requires a new technology, I normally will lean right in. So about 5 years ago, I had a client out of nowhere, a Canadian manufacturer that has a plant here in Indianapolis, and they bought this amazing technology of an automated camera that would photograph their product in 360, put it all together, and it ends up with 24 pictures that are stills and one video that's a rotation. I had no clue how to do it, not any clue in the world. And they said, do you want to give it a try? And I said, yes. And so I spent 3 months learning how to use this, what I would call artificial intelligence. It moved the camera, it moved the product, it lit the product, and it processed the image all without me doing anything but press a button. And so I spent the time and I learned it. And I think a lot of people lean back when people say, do you know how to do this? Instead of saying, no, but I'll learn. They normally say, no, bye. And they hang up. They don't want to talk anymore. So I do my best to lean into it because I learned the hard way. I made that digital transition so quickly and so easily. I was only 27 years old and I had nothing to fear in life, having no idea how bad life could really get. And then by the time that economic downturn came in the 2000s, I was scared to death. I was old enough to know how bad things could get. And so didn't lean in. So I learned a very valuable lesson that when disruptors come, the best thing you can do is lean in.
Yeah. And I can really tell that you really have a entrepreneurial growth mindset. And it's obviously, we'll talk about being an outsider, and you've also been a former national level athlete. How has being an athlete affected you as a businesswoman, and what mindsets really helped you to succeed?
Ice skating is an unforgiving sport. The ice is really hard and their slogan is just get back up. And that mindset, I feel that every successful entrepreneur understands that success is really just standing up one more time than you fall. If anybody says that getting successful is a linear process, they've never done it. They have no idea, because failure is part of it. It's part of learning. It's part of figuring it out. So skating as an individual sport, you had to talk to judges and you had to hear their critique constantly. And so now as a service provider, my clients are my judges and they tell me all the time where I've succeeded and where I've not succeeded. And whether I agree with them or not is irrelevant. It's always important to meet their expectations. And so I feel that skating and entrepreneurship go hand in hand. And skating has a lot of strong personalities. And in business, you're going to meet people that you get along with great, and you're going to meet people that have strong personalities. And so you have to deal with both of them. So I feel that it was a great way to grow up, but a great way to see what life is really and not be in a bubble like some people are.
Yeah. And then we know I always embrace this outsider's mentality, and you also have this underdog outsider. How do these positions or perspectives help you succeed in a field that sometimes you may be the sore thumb sticking out or just being different?
Yeah. there's a lot of times when I was growing up that I was the only woman in the room. And some of that has changed. And certainly more women are coming into commercial photography. But doing what I do is physically demanding. It requires working more than 40 hours a week. And as I have aged and photography has changed, people sometimes minimize what I do. You're just a photographer. I hear that with some regularity. Or my other favorite one is, you sure do have a good camera. Yeah, that's exactly what makes these great pictures, is a great camera. And so learning how to have confidence in yourself when things are against you, you just have to do it. And I think for anyone that's in a creative service, it is important that you have a team around you, whether it's mentors, whether it's just consultants, people that you trust, so that the voices that are building you up are louder than the ones that are tearing you down. And so I just feel like that this being different, constantly telling people, no, I don't do weddings. No, I don't do no, I'm not going to take your baby's picture. Constantly reminding them that there's another world, because a lot of people don't even know there's a difference. They don't know there's a difference between portrait and wedding and corporate photography. They have no idea. And so just being kind when you educate people, being understanding that it's not their fault that they don't know what you do. It's my job to educate and elevate. So that's how I deal with it.
Interesting. If people were interested in, their listeners, viewers, if they're interested in working with you, getting corporate commercial photographs, or just following you and reaching out to you, connecting with you, how can they do that?
Sure. Studio13online.com is our website. It's chock full of resources. If you want to know more about photography, there's an education page for that. We've also started an education page for marketing topics as well. So it's chock full of all kinds of things. LinkedIn, Studio 13 on LinkedIn, Studio 13 ND on Instagram.
Excellent. Thanks so much for coming on, and I really enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you so much, Chris. Have a great